This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. FAN.
Got the Strib. It's really cool. We got the Strib, Ben Goessling, Star Tribune, and StarTribune.com. In fact, we're going to marathon this bad boy thanks to Steve's Appliances and StevesAppliances.com. Go on and hit that website for customer appreciation sales happening right now. And there are some terrific deals. And make note of this, too, please, if you are so inclined. Friday, May 2nd, we are having a customer appreciation cookout at Steve's Appliances in Mounds View. Yours truly will be there. And perhaps the Strib, Ben Goessling from Star Tribune, StarTribune.com, who got a chance to meet the Steve's Appliances group last week when they were in studio. But if you're interested, come say hello. That would be Friday, May 2nd, early in the afternoon. Steve's Appliances in Mounds View. We love these guys. You will too. And the marathon segments are courtesy of Steve's Appliances and StevesAppliances.com. Ben Goessling, Paul Allen, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing?
Pretty well so far. Ben is at Ben Goessling via Twitter, at Ben Goessling. He's a mock draft savant by night and Apple Valley High School distance coach by day. He's nice enough to join 9 to noon each and every Tuesday. Now, Nordo and I were chatting. And this was yesterday, I believe, or maybe texting over the weekend, but I kept messing up a couple rookie names and colleges. And, you know, he's not here to embarrass me, but he's kind of like, you know, what's going on here? So he has a surprise up his sleeve for 9 to noon.
Oh boy.
And I understand we potentially may be playing a game here, beloved Benjamin. What do you got over there, Nordo? And good morning.
Good morning. This is about
heart's beating faster already with the music.
No, this is the easiest game that you'll ever play in your lives.
Really?
Yeah.
How's it work?
Well, it's just basic NFL draft trivia. I got 5 names in front of me here. So I made sure there were no ties so that I didn't have to keep going and come up with names on the fly. But here's what I did. These are actually fairly notable names.
Travis Hunter.
Well,
1 for 1. Got it.
You already breached the baby game.
So I got 2 clues for you, and it gets more obvious as time goes on.
Yeah.
But you use your name as your buzzer. You would say Ben.
Yep.
Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
And if you're right, you'll hear the. And if you're wrong, you'll hear the. No! Simple enough?
All right.
Yeah, simple enough. What's the genesis for the idea? Was it the mistakes I was making in the texting or in the side studio the other day, or what?
Well, we got a lot going on, guys. We got the basketball team. We're trying to figure out how to beat LeBron and Luka. We got the hockey team. Will Zeev play? I'm waiting for an update on that. We got Apple Valley cross country in the mix here. We got clipping penalties galore in our personal lives, but here, a week from Thursday, we're going to have the NFL draft, so it's important we at least know the names. So
you in caring and sharing fashion just want to make sure, mostly me, but we are squared away for the NFL draft a week from Thursday.
Correct, yes. And
so you're concerned about me.
And I am concerned about you, and out of the love that I have for you, I've constructed this to try and make you look dumb along the way.
Well, that's great. Okay, let's see. David Windjam from Planet Hollywood has sent an email to the 64686.
Oh, sweet.
And he has beloved Benjamin minus 320.
Oh, gosh. That's very flattering.
To win. I messed up Abdul Carter's name the other day.
Okay.
And it pissed off the producer.
Okay.
And then he's like, you do know the draft's in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, yeah, cool, man. I mean, I'll have all the names Thursday when we're on the stage at US Bank Stadium. But he wants us, specifically me, but us to have the names now. Yeah. Benjamin, are you ready to compete?
Let's do it.
Abdul Hodge was Chad Greenway's teammate.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Abdul. Right. With Abdul Hodge?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I went with Abdul Jabbar because I had Wolves, Lakers on the mind.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm like,
that makes sense.
Penn State, Abdul Jabbar. That's right. He would fit nicely.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this. Question.
Hide on the defensive line.
Question number 1, name is your buzzer.
Okay.
People talk about 2 players at this position a lot. Who's better than who will go before the other. But this third option is sneakily rising up the charts.
Paul?
Yes.
Jackson Dart? Yes! 2
Jackson
people,
Dart.
Lord Sanders.
Third?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Jackson Dart?
It's Jackson Dart.
Thank you.
Ole Miss.
Thank you.
And I've seen him going in the top 10. I mean, just kind of emerging, not emerging out of nowhere. He's not Eli Manning. Mm-hmm. He wasn't. He didn't have Michael Orr protecting his blind side at Ole Miss, and suddenly now he might be going. He's got an all-time NFL name though, Jackson Dart.
Hey, on the
a lot of chatter I heard about him when I was at the Gopher Pro Day a couple weeks ago.
Well, what'd you hear?
You
went to the Gophers Pro Day?
I did.
Were you down on the field?
I was.
That looks sweet.
It was fun. People like him. People like Dart.
Really? The right people?
People in decision-making procedures for NFL teams.
Okay.
So,
hey, well, just quickly, we it's a Talk Back Talker Tuesday.
Yep.
So the listeners get center stage a fair amount of the show. And the last talk back we took was, J.J. McCarthy, yes. Then it was like, Brett Rippon, we're happy for you.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Then at the end, I'm like, for what it's worth, they like Brett Rippon a lot more than I think a lot of people would realize. Yeah. Would you agree?
I would.
Okay. But that doesn't mean there won't be a veteran backup or whatever in the mix. So the question was, will they draft a quarterback? And I'm like, I don't think they're going to end up with 4 picks. It could be fewer. It could be more.
Right.
But I just don't see Kwesi standing pat with 4.
No, I don't either.
So my answer was less than 5%. In fact, 3% or less. They draft one.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, unless there's somebody in a mid-round kind of Jaron Hall type situation that you say, hey, we can develop this guy.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, it doesn't have to be him, but just an example of, I know there's a little bit of a trigger there. Anyway, keep going, Nordo.
Well, I've seen a lot of people too, just kind of last bit for me on this at least.
Your baby game triggered a talker.
But like into the undrafted market with such limited draft capital, it feels like there will be a significant number of UDFAs potentially in the building, rounding out the 90 and creating competition at spots. Mm-hmm. A lot of Gopher fans saying, "Hey, Max Brosmer, if he gets pushed out of even late Saturday, that he could roll in here. They know him well. That whole thing, and so the idea of potentially even foregoing." Trying to flirt with Tannehill. How much money is it going to cost to get him out of Nashville, et cetera? Let's just say to heck with that. We love Rippon the way the PA says they do. And so we're just going to go with an undrafted cat like a Brosmer. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Baby game continues.
And it triggered a talker.
1-0 in favor of the host of 9 to Noon. He came ready to play. I insulted him. I said I was going to try and make him look dumb. Now he's locked in. That's how it works. All right, let's do this.
That was an easy one.
45 catches, 649 yards, and 4 TDs in 23. Had 5 scores last year as one of the best of his position group. That's clue 1.
I can't name a wide receiver.
I think it's a tight end.
Okay, I can't name a wide receiver in the draft. And now I can't.
Were you ready for the second clue?
Yeah, because I can't remember the Penn State guy's first name. Jeez.
Whether it's Tyler Booker or this guy, I'm sure J.J. McCarthy would be happy to have a former teammate around.
Paul.
Yes.
Lisa Loveland? No! I mean, something Loveland?
I'll give
Michigan
it.
Tight end.
I was waiting for Ben to offer the first name.
I didn't have the first name.
How do you not have the first name? You're a journalist. You're a scribe.
Because I'm not looking at a tight end in the first round.
Yeah, I know, but this is draft wide.
Yeah. Is that going to be draft prep malpractice, Mr. Goessling? Pick 24?
I don't think they're taking a tight end at 24. No.
Tight end, Michigan Wolverines. All right.
The work has been more on the corners and the defensive linemen and that sort of thing.
What happened to offensive linemen?
That too.
Does anybody have a working cell phone number for Andrew Kramer? I always love that one. We're just kidding. Don't take
He's been on vacation for 2 weeks.
Lucky.
I'll
2 weeks.
I'll give you the Loveland.
Everybody gets 2 weeks vacation.
I'll give you the Loveland/Loveland.
Yeah, what's his first name, Kenneth?
Colston.
Colston, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, on the with the baby game triggering talkers out of nowhere, it's interesting because the with the 4 picks and Johnny Munt, we have all of his albums gone.
Yep.
And Oliver and Hawkinson, I mean, Hawkinson makes a lot, but they both make a fair amount.
Yep.
Drafting a tight end with one of the whatever, I wouldn't be, not at 24.
No.
I wouldn't think, but I wouldn't be surprised with that, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I think somewhere further back it makes some sense because Oliver is here for this year, and I think that's it. And then Hawkinson.
Do you? You think that's it?
Well, it's it on his contract.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make a decision beyond that, but he's at a $9 million cap number this year. So where are you keeping him? What does that number look like? And then Hawkinson probably needs to be, a year further from the ACL, I think will help, but he probably needs to be better this year to keep that number where it is. Otherwise, you can restructure that thing easily enough. I think that's probably fine. But yes, I think another option beyond those two probably makes some sense if they can get one.
With TJ, if there were one facet of his game, and you have all of his albums and you've watched all of his games from the 9 targets, X amount of catches at FedEx, his very first game, all the way through his only touchdown of the season last year against LA and Arizona. If there were one thing that you could be like, we're going to take this and make it better and it's going to help the team, what would it be?
I think, you saw a lot of run after catch with him early. Probably in his time with the Vikings and certainly in his time in Detroit. That's been something he's been praised for quite a bit. That would help them, especially with McCarthy, I think. The guy that can take an 8-yard kind of over the ball route and then make something happen, break a tackle, turn it into a 15-yard gain.
Yeah.
I think that would be a beneficial kind of safety valve in the offense and something that can turn into first downs more frequently than it was. I think if you get back to that, and again, a year further from that ACL, probably more likely that he gets back to that. But if he can kind of bring that piece of the offense back, or at least that piece of his game back in a way that we didn't see it quite in that degree last year, I think that would help.
Beautifully stated by the scribe.
All right, question number 3.
So I'm 1.5 to 0, right?
Yeah.
It's 1.5.
I was going to give you 2. That's it. It's fine. Ben can come back, and the comeback starts now. Question number 3. The Browns just paid their top guy $40 million a season, so we may not go there, but would be a shock if he doesn't go top 3 or 4.
Ben.
Yes.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah. That's great. And now you're fixing the race.
Abdul Carter, indeed.
Abdul Carter edge, right?
Yes.
Correct.
It's
and he's kind of among any player at any position, maybe Ashton Genty. There's no question. There's no debate.
Yeah.
There's no dispute. This is, if you want that spot, he is number 1, and everyone else just kind of waits around in the green room, right?
Yeah.
What about the Georgia guy?
Jalen rusher?
Yeah, Jalen. What is it? Jalen Green, something like that?
Yeah. Well, I think Carter is probably, people are talking about him possibly going number 1.
Yep.
So I think he's going to be at the top of that edge rusher group. So it depends on if people like the quarterbacks enough.
What's the highest award or championship the Apple Valley distance team can win this year?
Well, a state championship, I suppose, or a national championship.
Well, yeah, you're winning a state championship because it's clear that you've been putting in so much time at the gate, the distance running, and the prep and the cardio and everything.
I always love that one.
We're in lockstep here with the edge rushers.
Who was the Apple Valley? There was an offensive lineman that went there that has played in the NFL. Maybe the Chargers. Was it Trey Pipkins?
Yes.
Does that sound familiar?
Yep. Shot putter for us.
Yep. We were talking
that's
about
a hell of a pull.
We were talking about Apple Valley, just trying to pump up the valley a little bit.
Yep. He was, I think, a guard. He's been a guard for the Chargers, but yes.
Was it NDSU?
I believe so. Yes.
Right. And so were you coaching there when the Jones played?
Yes.
Trey and Tyus?
Yep.
Wow. That had to be nice.
It was fun to watch.
And the getting was good down there. That's sweet.
Yep.
All right, 2-1. All right, question number 4.
Well, you're dialed in right now. We're not betting on this, man. Seriously, you really want to win, right?
Yeah.
You're acting like we have a dryer from Steve's Appliances at stake, and the winner gets it.
There you go.
And then we have people who don't clean the lint bin.
The lint trap?
The lint.
Yeah.
The lint.
Don't even get me started on
I
that.
had such a picture to send you the other day, and I couldn't find my phone. Oh, wow.
So I got a lint trap on order now, and it's so awesome with the kids trying to help out and do the chores and such.
Oh, yeah.
But one of them, and they've been mom on this, who's responsible for it, they didn't replace the lint trap all the way, and somehow it kind of got wrangled up. There's a little sharp piece on it.
Yeah.
So now it's tearing up towels and things are getting caught on it.
Oh, poor Archie baby.
So they tried to help, and I asked them to do it. So no one's mad at anybody.
Yeah, there have been moments in our abodes, Mr. Beloved Ben.
Yes.
Where, let's just say, the lint trap hasn't been untrapped in quite some time.
Yep.
And then for one of us, not me, it impacted the dryer.
Yeah.
So then the person, not me, spent 8 hours one day looking at YouTube and getting parts and everything. He fixed it.
Yeah.
Was it more than 8 hours? It was more than one day, right?
It was almost a whole day.
Yeah.
And it was about $400.
Yeah, right. But I mean, sure beats the altar. You did fix it.
I did, yeah.
Right. But
No,
I
it
mean,
works
it was
perfectly
the entire day of the YouTube videos and everything. And so
for most of us, we do get to a point in our lives, though, where conquering something like that is actually awesome.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, at the end of it, there were a lot of vulgarities in the mudroom. Stay clear of that.
Yeah.
But once it was done, I felt like I climbed Everest. It was unbelievable. Fixing the Electrolux, it's on the resume.
I get that way assembling outdoor chairs.
What
I always
Electrolux,
love that one because it only takes 30 minutes.
Are you more of a speed queen?
Well, it's funny. We actually are looking for a dryer at the moment. So we were looking Maytag, Whirlpool. I looked at the Electrolux ones a couple times too. So
Electrolux is good. I bring up the Speed Queen, though, because if you're going for size, if you're going for heavy use, I think the Speed Queens are undeniably as durable as it gets.
Yeah, I looked at a few of those. Those are like the higher ends. Yep.
But if you need to throw, just throw a bag of cement in there, I think it'll handle it at least a couple of times.
That's good to know. If I'm in the market for a dryer that can handle cement, that's the way to go.
So what led Nordo to the exhausting day and $400 of repairing a dryer on his own, which is covenant claps worthy in its own right. It was involving not changing or not replacing or not fixing the lint trap.
Yeah, all you got to do is empty it.
Yeah, empty it. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
So every so often, and I do a fair amount, if not the majority, of the laundry at my house.
Yeah.
But sometimes things may fall off. Well, whenever I can remember to bring my phone into the mudroom, the pantry, and there was one time, you would have thought it was 6 inches of snow on each side of the lint trap, and I took a picture and sent it to the con saying, hey.
I'm seeing that.
And he was like, bleep you, stop that.
When he gets caught in the motor, it's game over.
That's the worst ever.
But not game over here, gentlemen. Ben gets himself back into the mix in this completely important and super crucial pre-draft prep game.
Yeah, Ben's dialed in right now. He came in uncomplicated. He's complicated now.
He is, yes. Game faces are on, and your best is required right now. For question number 4, a couple of clues here. Here's the first one. Along with a couple of Texas players, this guy is considered among the best playmaking wideouts in the draft.
I have no shot. Yeah, zero. They're not drafting a receiver. No shot.
That's
so.
Okay.
Paul, no, not Paul. Go.
Clue number 2.
Just looking up one yesterday.
I've seen some mock drafts that have this guy joining his fellow former Buckeye in Seattle. It would be another first-round receiver talent from, as some would say, the Ohio State.
Right. I looked at the guy's name over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. No. It's not Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Paul.
It's this guy, yes.
Olibe Zacchaeus.
Oh, absolutely nailed it.
No!
Olibe?
Yeah, that's not him. Why are you laughing at me? You have no idea, Benjamin.
No, I don't. But I saw the name yesterday, and it's on the
it is
not so complicated sometimes.
And just to put a cap on all this, I'm about to mispronounce it. So it's Emeka Egbuka.
Okay.
Yes.
Emeka Egbuka.
Egbuka.
Egbuka. And I've seen him potentially joining his former teammate in Seattle.
Who knows?
With Sam Darnold. How about that?
There you go.
All right, final one. Chance for Ben to tie it up. I don't have a tiebreaker, so here we go.
Officer Geist texted Golden. So there's another receiver, Golden, right?
Well, yeah, he's lifelong Longhorns fan, so it's Matthew Golden, and then I think Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond is like athletic freak.
Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, deep threat kind of guy.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Yeah, he likes his coverage shaken, not stirred.
This guy, absolutely he does. This guy is going to be potentially a first rounder. At 6'6", 330 pounds, he's a prototypical man mover from the Big Ten that could be drafted on Thursday night.
Paul?
There's two.
Yes.
Donovan Jackson?
No! Other side of the ball.
Oh, damn, I wasn't listening.
If you want intel on this tackle, just ask PJ Fleck.
Hey, Ben. Ariante Ursary.
Yeah! Oh, we're happy for you.
And
we were at the pro day.
We have a tie.
We have a tie. You didn't want a tie.
Kramer's got an Ursary feature coming as well.
Great. Yeah, nice of him to post it. He's on vacation.
Yeah, well, it's been filed. It hasn't been shared with people that may be able to benefit from this information now. So I had a little bit of insider trading on that one.
What's Emily's last name?
Liker.
Emily Liker would have had it posted 10 days ago, guys, okay?
Yeah.
So step it up.
Yeah.
Step it up and roll with Emily,
If you have a last name Liker, you have to be a really generally enjoyable person, right?
And she is.
You have to fit the name.
She puts up with us very well.
Well, you're so complicated sometimes.
Emily?
Holy cow.
Liker.
Yeah.
Love her.
That was a little baby game with some draft talkers attached. Gentlemen, Ariante Ursary, another Gopher with first either a Thursday or a Friday opportunity. Super cool for
So
Flex
we finish
Squad.
at a time.
We do, yeah.
Yes.
Fist bump.
Very
Nicely
anticlimactic.
Nice job. Thank you, my brother.
Yes.
He's Ben Goessling. He covers the Vikings and writes about the NFL for the Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. He also has a home office where he generates YouTube videos for the Star Tribune and via Twitter at Ben Goessling. When we return, we will have some Vikings/NFL draft pertinent questions to fire at the Scribe on FM 100.3 KFAN.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Use the keyword HAPPY at KFAN.com. You'd be happy to win $1,000 by entering the keyword HAPPY at KFAN.com.
Man.
So what do you think of Carson Wentz as a veteran backup quarterback for the Vikings?
Yeah, this is interesting because he's one of the names that gets talked about because he's still out there. I had forgotten that Josh McCown, quarterback coach of the Minnesota Vikings, was Carson Wentz's backup in Philadelphia towards the end of his playing career. So Josh McCown, it's fair to say, has a good-sized amount of experience and intelligence on Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. So if they are going to do it, they will be working off of a fairly complete scouting report, I would think, from Josh McCown himself. I think it's an interesting option, this question of can he come in and help J.J. McCarthy and be the guy that kind of works in that room with him? Mm. I would think they'd want to know that pretty definitively if they're going to do it. And, you know, this is always difficult with a guy that is at that age and may still have his own aspirations of, I want to go be a starter. I think that's a little different this year, just in the sense of McCarthy looks like he's more the guy. It looks like they're moving forward with him as the one rather than the Darnold is the one until McCarthy's ready sort of thing. So if you're Carson Wentz, you're coming into a little bit different situation. But at the same time, if you're Carson Wentz, you don't have a lot of great options right now to come in and be a starter somewhere. So it may be a good fit in that sense. But I think a lot of this will come down to McCown's impressions of him having shared a quarterback room with him before.
Okay, well, so how seriously are you when it comes to on being on the path to, you know, learn most likely after the draft if there will be or who will be a veteran backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you were the first one that put that name out there months ago.
Yep.
So he's on the list, the laundry list.
Right.
But like, how seriously do you or should we take that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because it's the thing of they're throwing options around and they're trying to figure out who's going to be the right fit. And I know with Tannehill, shares an agent with McCarthy, so there's a little bit of shared kind of lineage there. It may make some sense from that regard, but it's this question of, do you want to pull him out of not having played a year ago? Does he want to come in and do that? I think, people keep asking about the comp pick stuff and saying, oh, he wasn't playing anywhere last year. Why don't they just sign him now if they're going to do it? I am not 100% in full disclosure sure if it would affect the comp stuff or not after a year off. I think a lot of people have said, no, it won't. I would want to see like wording of that from official places before you say that for sure. But, that is one of the questions with him is it going to fit with what he wants at this point in his career? Does he want to come back and move his family out of Nashville, all that kind of stuff? So, yeah, there are a lot of questions there, and we'll see how that shakes out. But, yeah, I think if, in fact, it does not affect the comp pick formula, the fact that they haven't done it would have to be for another reason. Because if that's not a factor, then why not just do it anytime?
If you rode whatever piece of discernment God gave you involving football, would you go yes or no that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah would have a new deal before the draft?
I would go with, we're a week out from that. I would go with no.
Right.
Because I think the focus is on other things right now. I think the focus is on the draft itself.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the actual draft, round one of the draft, a week from Thursday. So when you're at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, like, what's your day like? What do you do
on the actual draft day? It's kind of boring. It like everybody.
You sit in the media room.
You sit in the media room. You watch it on TV. The only real difference
there's
between
good food, though,
there's
there,
good food. There's typically good food. That has been upgraded over the years. It used to be a lot of pizza. Now it's not Hagen's Production as much anymore. It's
you got hard shell tacos.
A little different.
Hard shell tacos
There's a lot
are
of
my
that.
favorite food. Period.
Yep. The taco bar, if they do that, it's usually pretty good. But basically, you sit and watch it on TV, and the difference is when they bring the decision makers down to talk about the pick. You go in the room, the next door room, do the press conference, and then they'll get the pick on the phone. They'll probably get the college coach on the phone. It's kind of this.
That's sweet.
Yeah, once they make the pick, it kind of becomes bam, bam, bam. A lot of different things happen. But until they pick, you're more or less sitting, watching, trying to figure out what's going on. But, at that point, everybody's pretty locked down, so people aren't necessarily responding to text messages. But, it's not as exciting as people may imagine it to be.
So do you guys put together some kind of a, pool for fun or something to guess picks?
We don't. We haven't.
Kind of fun,
could. Yeah, we all have our mock drafts, and we'll give each other a hard time about if we miss on them or not.
I'm saying 1 to 15, 1 to 20.
Yeah.
You put the most common names.
Yep.
Or excuse me, no, you put the numbers 1 to 20.
Yeah.
Because you're and then the whole thing's off if we have a 24 to a 16.
Right.
Okay.
Then everybody's got to work.
Yeah, bits off. We got to work. But you get a number, and then you pull the number. So there would need to be, say, 15 of you.
Yep.
Are there 15 who would be willing to play?
Probably.
Or 7.
Yeah.
And each gets 2.
Yep.
And you each pull a number, and then you have to write who you think will go with that pick.
Okay.
And I don't know.
That could be fun.
Each of you put, say, 5 Monopoly dollars in there.
Yeah.
Or a mythical honeybee, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you make it a little pool.
Yeah.
And I might spice it up a little bit.
That could be fun.
That'd be cool.
I may bring that idea to the council here.
If you got number 1, would you write Cam Ward?
I would, yes.
Okay. If you got number 2, Stefanski, what name would you write?
Well, this is tricky because I could see it being Carter to say, let's put him next to Myles Garrett and have another one. Mm-hmm. They also need a quarterback. And then this question of, do you want to ride with Shedeur in a year that you may need to win to keep your job? That's a lot of the question with him is, are you going to bring him in? If you're a team, the Giants have been talked about with this. If you're a team that needs to win right now, do you bring Shedeur in knowing all that comes with Shedeur that you're trying to manage?
And they signed Russ, right?
Job. Yes.
Oh, geez.
Yes. So the Giants said yes.
Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, you draft Shador.
Yep.
You got Dion up in the mix.
Yep.
Who has an opinion.
Right.
Well, you got Russ, who ain't there to back up.
Correct.
Well, that's doomsday Dable.
That's a lot of complications to manage, I think. So I would go something other than quarterback for the Browns at 2, because I just don't know that they're going to say, let's, kind of stake our lot with this guy that's not maybe the guy that's going to help us win right away this year.
Yeah.
I'll go Carter too.
How familiar are you, Ben Goessling, at Ben Goessling via X, and he covers the Vikings for Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. Time for a couple more. How familiar are you, or how much have you read or watched Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State?
Yeah, certainly familiar. I've watched him a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, and we're not asking you to be John Riggins reincarnate with the proper route via an all-22 to define superstar running back.
Right.
But clearly, there are many, specifically the right people who think he has some star power to him.
Yep.
Well, I was listening to something yesterday, and there are teams that are comparing him to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I mean, isn't Saquon like bigger and more muscular and more sturdy, and Genty's more on the slender side, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see that comparison?
Well, the projection, I always feel like these things are, you have to map a year or two out once they've been in an NFL weight room, because the thing that you hear over and over, this pre-draft offseason is it's a cluster for a lot of these players, because you're going from interviews to pro days to meetings to top 30 visits to training for the combine, which is a lot of drills that will maybe affect your draft stock, but may not be anything that binds or corresponds to football that you'll play for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
So you're not spending a lot of time in weight rooms. You're not spending a lot of time doing football specific training for your rookie season. You're getting ready to be drafted. So this offseason, by the time rookies come in, it's almost May. You're almost ready to start OTAs. You've missed 3 or 4 months of time to just sit and train and get bigger. So a lot of times you'll hear people talk about that first full off season after your rookie year is really the time that you can build on weight and fill into your NFL body, so to speak. I mean, people talk about this with Dallas Turner as well. So I think Genty, that projection to be Barkley-like may be a year away once he's had that time.
Okay. And lastly, and I threw this out for a Talkback Tuesday, simply to get outside of the draft and into the division, because there are a lot of Chicago Bears fans listening right now, locally, and a lot around the country. And this is triggered off something I heard yesterday about the Bears and Ben Johnson and people being bit by Ben.
Yeah.
He immediately gets those offensive linemen before free agency begins. And, clearly what he did, and I didn't really realize this till I looked it up yesterday, but so Johnson, Ben Johnson was with Detroit X amount of years.
Yeah.
Man, to get Decker over to Sewell with Ragnow in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, there were some whiffs in there too for the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, they put a lot. They kept just stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, and finally they had high picks, and Penei Sewell is a first round pick, and Decker's a first round pick, and Ragnow was a first round. So it took a while to get where they are, which means from a Bears standpoint, because Johnson fell into a lot of great things.
Right.
He didn't fall into Jahmyr Gibbs. That was his opinion. But he fell into a lot of great things, and he made it work. So it's, do you think, would it be astounding if the Bears made the playoffs this year?
I don't think so.
Really? See, I think it's definitely a long shot. And but here's why. I mean, the
7 teams that get in.
Okay, but the division, see, I'm thinking start with 7 or 8 wins, maybe 8 or 9. Then after that, they'll keep stabbing with drafts and free agency. Yeah. And there's no sense that the quarterback goes year 1 to 2 and goes from, say, a 7.5 to a 9 or whatever.
Yeah, I like the quarterback.
I do too. And that obviously is a big part of it. And that's why they paid Johnson what they've paid him.
Yep.
But I mean, the 6 division games are tough.
They are.
So you have that. But we get the AFC North this year. So
yeah, that's true.
That really
it changes
that plays into it for all in the division, but specifically those on the come, those who feel they are or are ascending.
Right.
So like the Bears at home, I'm not going to ask you to go win, loss, whatever. At home, now this shakes out okay for them. Lions, Packers, Vikings, Cowboys, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Saints.
So flip of the Vikings road schedule, basically.
Okay. And away, Lions, Packers, Vikings. They're at Philly, at Washington. They're going to be underdogs in every road game except probably the one against the Raiders.
Yeah, you're right.
They'll be at the Raiders, but they'll be at the Niners, dog. At Bengals, probably dog. Ravens, dog. Commanders, dog. Champions, dog.
It's a lot of good quarterbacks.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's. I'm not encouraging Bears fans, hey, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
They should be excited. And I do think this coach is going to do a good job specifically with offense.
Yep.
But it just doesn't feel like this year would be the playoff year for the Bears.
Yeah, it would be one of those things. They'd have to be like one of those, like the 06 Saints, for example, come to my mind. Or I think the Eagles in, 17, where a lot of things click. And that year one thing, especially if it's a lot of things that click that people haven't prepared for yet, that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams have time to get in the lab, and defensive coordinators haven't prepared for what they're going to do quite yet. And it takes half a season before people have a counter for it. Jared Goff, some of those first years in LA, if it's that type of a thing, that type of a match, and that just catches people off guard for a while. Jaden Daniels, a little bit of this last year. I think it's possible that they get on that kind of a heater. And if that were to happen, all bets are off. But yes, the road schedule, especially with those NFC East teams that you mentioned that were in the NFC title game, that is a lot tougher than you would want a first-year coach and a second-year quarterback to have to take on if they're trying to make that kind of a leap.
The Scribe. Hopefully we can see you next Tuesday, okay?
Yes, let's do it.
Yep, Ben Goessling, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com, 1045. We always thank him for his inclusion. News du Nord is around the corner. Then we get back to the talkbacks on the Talkback Tuesday on KFAN.
What up, News du Nord? It's brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. For all the details, you're feeling the felt all year long, and then you're ponying up for some live racing. It's going to take place starting next month. Get to CanterburyPark.com. Derby Day parties, which means huge hats. You're dressing up, and, of course, the mint juleps. But it's a party all year long. Go to CanterburyPark.com for more details. Minnesota Twins, we're not going to spend a ton of time. They're now 5-12, which I read. This kind of sums things up. Thank you, Mr. Gleeman, The Athletic. They're 5-12, tied for the worst record in team history through 17 games. Twins lineup is batting .203 with a .601 OPS, both the second worst marks in team history through 17 games. Lineup has scored 2 runs or fewer 9 times, the most in team history through 17 games. Won't even get to the fact that they only had about 10,000 people in attendance, which I believe is roughly tied for the worst in the history of Target Field. So they're 5-12, and they play the Mets again today. To the Minnesota Wild.
Hey, with the Twins quickly, and this is not FIDA, Fairness in Defending the Twins Act blindly. But in watching other teams around Major League Baseball, which my assumption is that where I see and or hear a lot of this, specifically on social media, I don't believe people are watching other teams. Okay, I believe they're
like at a high level, like extra innings. They're paying attention to the
right.
Yeah.
Okay, the crowd situation is all over the place. All over the place. All right. So I was watching Seattle the other night and actually gave them covenant claps for having a decent little crowd in the lower bowl. Crickets in the outfield, crickets in upper deck. I've seen it. I haven't seen all the ballparks, but it's what's happening here is maybe it has fallen off farther than it absolutely should. If somebody formulates that argument, I'm not really going to argue with them because I'm not prepared to.
But they're not alone in this, you're saying?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's all over Major League Baseball where, you can take the low-hanging fruit because you're seeking attention and be like, hey, look at this in the 9th inning. Right. I mean, there might be 1,500 people here.
Yeah.
Cool. What's Cincinnati look like? Oh, you can't tell me that, can you? Cool. What's the you can't tell me that either, right? Okay, cool. Then just go ahead and take that low-hanging fruit shot because you covet attention.
I do.
Attention that you're not getting.
I do wonder if that, kind of going back to part of our conversation yesterday, I do wonder if because the Twins weren't the only ones that have been having broadcast issues for the last couple of years as well. So,
bingo.
We were all kind of looking down at the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that were, I mean, they weren't pioneers in the full streaming, I don't think, but they were one of the first teams to do it.
Yeah.
And from a revenue standpoint, from an access standpoint, for a team that has had significant issues marketing their biggest stars for years as it is.
Right.
I wonder, at one point, I think nearly half, it was at least, I think, 9 or 10 teams that were going through the similar Sinclair Broadcasting to Bally's to FanDuel Sports.
That's an elite
regional
point.
Network of choice, L. So, I wonder how much that's playing in, but that would not surprise me. And I'm one of those people, PA, I have not, and that's because I'm living in the Twins fishbowl, so I care about my favorite team. That team has not inspired me to jump around and check out how other squads are doing. So I'm glad to get that insight, because it does feel a little bit within your own sphere that it can't be worse than this. But it sounds like some other franchises are dealing with similar problems.
Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close to half the league is averaging fewer than 24,000 people a game.
Ugh.
Okay, now 24 ain't bad. So we can even go lower than that. It's like to this stage as of now, with the Major League Baseball attendance report, yeah, it probably needs to be better here.
Yeah,
but there's no doubt. But the Twins, they're not even in the bottom 5 for attendance. It's the Tampa Bay Rays through 13 home games are averaging 10,000 people a game.
Well, that's not even at home, is it? Because Tropicana got smashed in that hurricane.
Okay, wherever they are. Well, the Athletics aren't home either. They're in Sacramento. So I don't know. Yeah, again, I mean, seriously, with Major League Baseball right now, holy cow. And then this salary cap thing and the TV deals and all that. The Miami Marlins, all right, they're averaging 14,000 fans a game. Kansas City, baseball immortality.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr., though.
George Brett, go crazy. Locane in center. The Royals with cool-ass Kaufman, 17,000 a game.
Oh.
The Pirates with, I can't remember the name of their stadium. I've been to it twice when the Vikings have played the Steelers.
Is it still Three Rivers?
It's not Three Rivers. No, it's Pac Bell. No, whatever. It's beautiful. I mean, it's right at the mouth of those three rivers, adjacent to what used to be Hines. It's just a quaint, wonderful ballpark. They, with Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz, go crazy. They're averaging 17,000 a game. Twins, 18,005. So, again, they're not Cleveland, Chicago, 18,500. Cleveland, 18,300. The Kitties... The Kitties were a postseason factor last year, and with Tariq Skubal, have one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. 22,000. Cincinnati, 23. So you get to the top. Oh, what a shocker. The LA Dodgers are averaging 52,000 people a game. Hey, anybody want to see Shohei Ohtani? Anybody want to see Mookie Betts? Anybody interested in Freddie Freeman or Max Muncy or Will Smith or maybe this new Tommy Edman? Let's see what Tommy Edman's all about. The Anaheimers ain't great, but they average 42,000 a game.
Man, I don't know what circumstances would put me out west again anytime soon. I'd love to go to Chavez Ravine, though. It sounds. Yeah. I mean, just all time historic.
It's. I mean, I've been there a bunch of times, and maybe they've remodeled. I mean, maybe they've done things. In fact, I'm quite positive they have. But it's like some of these stadiums, we go to for football. Mercedes-Benz Superdome's ridiculously dumpish.
Yeah.
Dallas, before it was all reconfigured and everything. There are some stadiums that just need dramatic upgrades.
Yep.
Chavez Ravine, you still drive up in being a ravine, it means that you're in a ravine. So therefore you go up hills and then the stadium goes down into the ground. So traffic is a disaster getting out of there and getting in for 52,000 people. But they only have so much room to expand the concourses and stuff like that. Yet nobody ever complains about, how about a new ballpark for the Dodgers? How about a new Chavez Ravine?
Yeah.
How about we uproot this and move to Thousand Oaks? that never is a talker because the place is immortality, man.
Yeah, no one's trying to knock down Fenway, some of those places. Absolutely.
What a great call there on Fenway.
To the Minnesota Wild, we were super excited, PA. We are excited for the game tonight. The Minnesota Wild, in their regular season finale, they're still trying to watch and make sure what Calgary are doing. They're a point ahead of the St. Louis Blues, so they want to pay attention to what the Blues are doing. But tonight at 7 o'clock, right here on your home for Wild Hockey, the Fan, the Minnesota Wild will be hosting the Anaheim Ducks. It's a win-and-get-in scenario in terms of the playoffs. They just need a point, get to overtime, get a point. They are assuring themselves with that point of being in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We were kind of excited earlier based off of the Talkback PA, Talker Tuesday, Dealer's Choice style, that Zeev Buium might be making his Wild debut. Well, it's good times, bad times. No Buium tonight, because Spurgeon and Middleton are back for the Minnesota Wild. So I received a text from Kevin Fallness. He was man on the ground. He was sniffing around. He was in the locker room, hiding behind some breezers. And he tells me that Spurgeon and Middleton are back, which means Buium will not be in the Wild lineup tonight. So we'll have to wait for that. But again, tonight on the Fan, Mr. O'Donnell, Mr. Reed on the call, 1 point gets the Wild into the postseason for sure, and no more scoreboard watching if they're able to do that.
So clearly we have to wait for the Boyum and the Booyah.
Time for two more.
That was that's what I was looking for Horatio Kane.
Yeah, it's boys. Just because we don't have Zeev doesn't mean we can't weave.
There we go.
I'm stupid.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
That's
play-in stuff tonight too, right?
Play-in stuff.
What we got tonight?
Well, we have two games.
Magic Hawks.
And I'm just going to go top. Yeah, that's it's Magic hosting the Hawks. Winner gets the 7, and then I think it's Memphis Golden State.
Yeah.
The late one. Winner gets the 7, and the Houston Rockets. The loser of either of those games will play then the winner.
Yep.
Of the 9-10 games that take place tomorrow, if that makes sense.
So from a personal interest standpoint, we can have the opportunity, if the Wolves were in the play-in, all right, let's say to have a game tonight. Say it was tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another, after that to
Friday
move
night.
in Friday to get the opportunity to play SGA or the Rockets.
Yep.
Okay, instead we got to wait till Saturday. For the LeBron Luka trick. So would you prefer be in the play-in and have a couple of games during the week and then start on the weekend against a 1 or a 2, or just the way it is right now? This sucks having to wait, though.
It'd be cool having a game tonight, but it's so much better for this team. The rest, they fought for a month and a half. How muddy is this Western Conference?
Yeah.
Again, the idea that the Lakers, and they get Luka, and I think he's played just south of 30 games, something like that for Lake Show. How much battling? The loss to the Bucks is inexcusable. The loss to the Pacers with nobody playing is inexcusable. Obi Toppin, from distance? But in the end, they were 17-4 in their final 21.
And one of the 4 was the blown 24-point lead at Giannis, which was ridiculous.
And so this team had to scratch and crawl their way out of the play-in just to get a few extra days to figure out how to dominate Jackson Hayes with Rudy and Naz Omai. So I'm happy they got the rest. But I also can't wait with nothing on the line. After the Wild have staked some sort of lopsided lead in the hockey game, 9 p.m. comes.
Yeah.
I can sit down on the couch after the kids go to bed, and I can watch Grizzlies, Ja and Bane and Jaren Jackson with the interim coach.
Then Hannah wakes up at 11 and you're on that duty.
What if the Grizz
or 10:15
drop an L on Curry and Jimmy, and then they got to grind it out on Friday night to get their way in, winner of, I think it's Sacramento and Dallas.
What if the youngest is colicky at 8:45?
Yeah, that's a problem.
That ain't gonna happen. She's just an angel baby.
No, as a matter of fact, I will say this: she sleeps.
Angel Barbie.
She sleeps like her dad does, which is like she's dead.
Really?
It's
why
awesome.
do you guys put her on the couch downstairs? I'm sorry. All right, that's News du Nord.
Got the bottle in the mini fridge.
Yep, enough of News du Nord. Yep, she... All right, 3. Anyway, Talker Tuesday, and we're going to fire some of them talkbacks in dealer's choice like fashion around the corner. It's KFAN.